Hey, people of the interwebs. It's me, Brandon, and I'm sitting right here next to Lewis.
Yo.
And we're here to talk to you about The Last Templar, a graphic novel we've spent the last year working on. Right now, it's available. You can go to Kickstarter, support us on Kickstarter. We have 9 tier levels if you're thinking about donating. For $1, boom, $1. PDF, right there. Got the book. No hassle. You can, if you're worried about overseas shipping, you can get the book that way, no problem. $10, you get the PDF and an original sketch card. Sketch cards that conventions sell for $10, so boom, you get the comic and a sketch card.
For $15, you get the black and white trade. This is going to be the same value as any trade in any store you're going to find anywhere. So it's a good deal either way.
For $25, you get a colored version of the trade, but it's not just a digital colored. The pages, the original boards were hand painted by me. Boom. So that's painted right there. $25, you get a brand new redesigned version of the trade.
Mm-hmm. For $45, you get the director's cut color trade and 3 prints. And the director's cut is not the same as the regular trade. There's going to be extra stuff. There's supplementals. Think of it like special features on a DVD box set. You're gonna want this one.
For $50, you get the color trade director's cut with a variant cover, a sexy pinup by our model that we did the photo shoot with and the prints. You get that color, you get 3 prints, and a sketch card for $50. Boom.
For $80, you get the colored print variant cover and prints and an original page from the trade.
That's right, an original page. Boom, original art. If you were at a convention, that page by itself would sell for $100. But there it is, $80 for the book, prints, and the original art.
$100 if you're lucky.
Speaking of $100, we for $100 you get the a sketch cover, which means I will draw you a cover. You can ask for anything on that cover. I will do a drawing, a sketch of your grandma for that cover. And you get the prints plus an original page.
And for $150, the top tier, we've only got 3 slots for this one. You get a painting. You get your choice of cover. You get the 3 prints, and you get an exclusive Mr. Cuddles Volume 1, not available anywhere else.
That's right, this is a revamped version of Mr. Cuddles, just for you, our Kickstarter supporters.
Play a new gun.
Well, of course, now that everyone has smartphones, you can just check online.
Superman, the Grant Morrison wrote, was
Welcome to At the Table with Destiny Comics. Hey, people of the interwebs. It's,
You forgot your name?
that's right, I forgot my name. It's been that long.
My name's Lewis.
So, we're sitting here. Let's go, we'll start with Lewis. There's Lewis, me, Brandon Noel, and my wife, Maylene Noel. And today, on a very special episode of At the Table, we're going to talk about drugs.
Let's start with meth.
Let's start with meth. It's a hell of a drug. Now cocaine.
Everybody gets one.
We're going to take this time and talk about The Last Templar, our Kickstarter. This podcast should be going up probably 2 days to 3 days before the Kickstarter goes live. So we're going to be talking exclusively pretty much about that podcast. So if you're here to listen to us bitch about Ben Affleck or something like that,
You're out of luck.
you're out of luck. Unfortunately, well, I like Ben Affleck, so
We can't guarantee we won't talk about other things, because we just do that sometimes, but mostly it's going to be Templar related.
it's going to be The Last Templar.
So we do promise we'll try as close to The Last Templar as possible. We just can't guarantee we won't deviate on occasion.
Yeah, The Last Templar, it 48, well, it started off as a 48 pager. It's kind of grown to like a 54 pager. We added some fight scenes. And
In fact, when you first gave me the idea and the script, and you're like, okay, it's going to be 48 pages, I didn't know that was including like ads here and there, so I literally wrote 48 pages of content.
Normally it's a little less than that.
You emailed me and you're like, what are you going to cut? I'm like, what cut? What are you talking about?
I gotta put ads in this thing, you know? Your standard comic book, like just a floppy, comes out as 32 pages. 20 pages are actual comic book. The rest is ad space. Or with DC, they put 4 pages in the back of the book as a universal filler that they... Because Marvel had like Stan's soapbox where it was Stan answering fan letters or whatever.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah, it's a big thing. And he would actually kind of make fun of the guys doing the letter. Jeff Loeb had a funny story where as a kid he wrote in. And, Jeff Loeb, Superman for All Seasons and stuff like that. He wrote into Stan's soapbox, and he wrote his full name was like Jeffrey Loeb the Third or whatever. And Stan reamed him was like, this goes out to Jeffrey Loeb the Third and the Second and the First. So it was, that's kind of where that comes from. And that was the first comic book to have like letters, columns, and I just read the last issue of Savage Dragon. I guess Eric Larson still has a fan mail page in the back of his book, which is cool because it's been a long time since I've read Savage, and it was cool to see. Okay, he's still got some fans out there kicking around. But yeah, so like if you buy the director's cut of the book, you'll see a lot of that, our collaboration and where some things came in. I added some stuff. Lewis added some stuff, and it just evolved because we had a year to really kind of flesh this thing out.
Yeah.
That was the advantage of instead of kicking it out as a 48-pager, boom, we're going to publish part 1 of this book in 8-bit, and we're going to publish the next part.
And then to get the ending, you gotta get the trade.
You gotta support us on Kickstarter to get the ending. Yeah, we didn't publish the end of the book. But it was really fun, and one thing, like I've talked about it before, when I started I thought it was a great idea, but turned out to be a painstaking idea, was, it started because I read DC did a book called, it was a demon comic when they relaunched the 52. I don't even know if they're still going on, but it was a medieval flashback of the demon.
Oh.
Instead of, because normally with the demon comic you tell a little bit of the medieval history and then you jump to current day. The whole book was period.
That's cool. I like that.
It was a really cool idea. But on the first page of that book, you had a knight bleeding out on a rock, and the chainmail was cut like a cloth. And I was just like, that's not how chainmail... Because, I do medieval reenactment. I spend time with chainmail. I spend time with armor, swords, and stuff. And it's like, that's not how chainmail... When it breaks, it doesn't fold like fabric. It blows apart. Leaves a weird diamond-shaped hole. And you don't have to make a diamond. Like, not every artist is going to know that. But they should know chainmail doesn't work like cloth.
Yeah, you can't have, like, half links along a line.
No.
That's not real.
So like when I got around to designing the Templar, I added actual ringlets and chainmail on his arms and legs and stuff. And I've said this before, that's also why his shoulder pad or his spalders got bigger and his elbows got bigger, because that's areas I didn't have to fill in with chainmail.
I do like the detail that you put into it, though. We're talking about a guy who really wore legitimate armor, and we're trying to draw it.
Yeah, that was the one thing. I pulled out history books, because there's that period in the book, it's only a couple of pages long, but the war scene in the opening of the book, where they're fighting, Muslims, and so, their chainmail is designed differently than Templar's chainmail, so I wanted to get the history right as far as this guy's wearing that armor, and this guy's wearing this armor, and, it works. I put a lot of work into that chainmail, because the way the Muslims wore their chainmail is they wore it in layers, and then you had 3 layers of chainmail that were folded over, so you had like 6 folds of chainmail on vital parts, and then they would carve in holes and rings into the chainmail, so that if you're in close quarters fight, you go to hit their belly, your sword gets wrapped and tangled up into their chainmail.
I know that.
Yeah, historically that's what they did. And so even though we don't use that in the book, like I made it sure to put that in their chainmail and stuff, and show the history of that, because that was important to me to get that stuff right. So as the writer, what were some of the challenges you had to face?
I guess putting myself into his shoes, having having this much like sureness of self, being so completely sure that what you because we're talking about a knight of the you know, he's a Templar knight. This guy knows what he wants. He knows what other people should be doing, and damned if he's not going to tell you about it. I'm not the most sort of, you know, out there guy as far as like, hey, do this, don't do, and it was difficult to try to get into that mindset. But after a while, it just sort of flow, and that was probably the most challenging thing. I mean, as far as history and religious mythology and future shock and that kind of stuff, I've been reading a lot. I've been writing a lot for that kind of thing, but yeah, just that mindset was probably the biggest part.
Because he's a religious zealot. I mean,
Yeah.
if we're honest with the character, he's, you know, I wanted to do kind of like Conan in the future,
Yeah.
you know, and that's where this whole project, I wanted to draw something Conan-esque. And, you know, 4th century Christianity isn't modern day Christianity.
Not at all. Not
You
at
know,
all.
The Bible, I don't even think it really been even assembled. And we were talking earlier about, like, there's thing in that time the Catholic Church got away with doing like warriors heaven, where they would tell the people, you know, there's a separate heaven just for you if you die in battle, so that they would push these guys to go out there and go to war.
It's kind of Spartan-esque, actually.
It is a little bit, you know, it's completely undoctrined as far as the actual Bible goes, but you know, the history it's cruel, it's brutal, it's violent. If you read some of the stuff about the actual First Crusade, when the Templars won, the Templars waded ankle deep through the blood of Muslims in the temples to pray. You know, like, talk about hypocrisy, you know. And that's documented in several different historical things. Ankle deep, just slushing through human blood.
Yeah, that's, oh my god, turn the other cheek so that I can cut it for you.
Yeah. Not the nicest guy. And
but very firm in his belief.
Yeah,
Very firm that what he is doing is right.
I think we did a good job of, especially in the writing, of showing this guy's kind of religious zealot without even, because I didn't want to, you know, when I first started comics, I kind of wanted to do Christian comics. And the problem with that is, and I totally admit it, and I went down this rabbit hole, is you're never going to appease your target audience, because there's so many different people. People have so many different opinions on religion and faith and stuff, that I could do a kid-friendly or safe comic book, and it's just boring or drawl.
Yeah.
You know, and I want to be an entertainer. I want to put out good quality entertainment. And so over the last year, we've kind of pulled away from Christian-based stuff, not because it's you know, I've been able to separate my faith from my work, because I want my work to actually be good. You know, and the Christian, if you start doing Christian comics, it becomes harder and harder to even get noticed or published or whatever. And I have one project I'd like to do in the vein of Christian stuff, but that's going to be years down the line. Right now, I just want to do Conan and, you know, do the blood, guts, and gore of it.
And I feel like when it comes to things that are about a certain thing, like Christian comics, it's sort of like throwing a blanket over something. Like, it now has to be about Christianity. It now has to be about something, whatever. But if you just do comics and you kind of like throw the idea of a Templar knight into it, then it's not so much a Christian comic as just, hey, this guy's in the future and his values have not changed.
His values hasn't changed, but the world that he now operates and lives
Yeah.
in is not the world that he was familiar with. And I think if we ever get around to, I'm hoping we start to do more of these. You know, there's going to be a lot of fun to play with that.
Oh yeah.
You know, the culture shock, the, you know, the Rebel Alliance kind of stuff, and you know, it was nice because a lot of that Christian stuff just becomes a bouncing board for the world. Like there's stuff in there dealing with Revelation and things like that, but that's not the story we're telling. We're telling this Conan-esque story with that stuff in the background. Now, speaking of background noise, birds.
They happen.
They happen.
Birds happen.
Birds happen. So I mean, for me. One thing I noticed is it, like as I was drawing the book, like my style changed a little bit because it was like I'm working on, it started off as gritty, especially in the war scenes. I'm doing a lot of shading and hash marks and stuff, and by the future it's a smoother animal. I wasn't consciously doing that, but I think subconsciously it makes the book flow.
Yeah, it just kind of came out that way, and it's a natural transition, and I liked it. I liked looking at it that way.
Yeah, and I mean, I've already started kind of like playing with the painting, because what we did as far as because I inked it. I inked the book black and white because they can buy the PDF of black and white and stuff like that. And then what I did is I'm going to paint the original boards, or I'm already starting to do that. And then I'm going to digitally lay in my inks over the paint. So I did this with Mr. Cuddles, and it gives this nice like. You have the paint, but the line quality is still there.
Yeah.
Dang birds.
Hey, we're trying to podcast here.
So, wrong pipe. One of the things we did for promotional is I'm dying.
Can we start that sentence?
Okay. One of the things we did for the...
Okay, let's try this again, shall we?
Alright. One of the things we did for the Kickstarter and promotional side of things was a photo shoot with Melanie, who's a model we've worked with in the past. She did our first shirt ads and stuff like that. Was the first pinup model in the 8-bit. She came out and knocked it out. We shot with her for a couple hours. It was a great shoot. I mean,
it looks fantastic. She's wearing the tabard, I think.
Yeah, she's wearing an actual Templar tabard. She's
from that time period.
She's SCA sword fighter.
Oh.
So I gave her the sword, and she just she knew how to use it.
I didn't know that about her. That's awesome.
Oh no, she's great. One of the things that was a little pain in the butt to shoot her with because of that. Normally you give a model a sword, they don't really know. She knows how to hold it and go into position. Yeah. And the thing is, you have to cheat a blade. Otherwise, it's just this very thin itty bitty line.
Yeah, because you don't hold it, flat forward. That's not.
Yeah, that doesn't read in a photo as a blade.
Yeah.
So like I had to get in there. I was like, cheat the blade. Stop thinking like a sword fighter. Cheat the blade. Because
you are not a warrior. You're a model right now.
So she's, if you've ever seen Freelancers, she plays a Xena-like character in Freelancers, walking around in an armored bra and stuff like that. Really, really tough model. Real good friend of. I want to say the show, but really just of the company.
Yeah.
She's done a lot of work with us. The shoots came out really great. We got a variant cover out of that, photo variant, and it also kind of like it gave me a lot of reference as far as like because the Angel of Death character.
Yeah.
That we kind of worked out on, and that was a last minute addition to the book as well.
I liked it though. I liked it. I like being able to work with you in terms of like if you have an idea, it's going to be a good idea. So I'm just going to be like, do it. Just go do it. Because the Angel of Death was not in my original script, but I liked the idea of it so much that I just do it. Just put it in there. It'll turn out great.
I kind of stole it from the Spirit. Well, Frank Miller's, because there's that Angel of Death character in there, especially in the movie. Not so much in the comics.
I never saw the movie.
Oh, okay. Well, the Spirit's one of my favorite comic books. But he dies or is near death, and the Angel of Death comes to him. Like and of course she's a sexy woman because that's in the Spirit's realm.
Yeah.
She's like, just come with me. Like, she wants him, like, you know. And I kind of stole that note with this angel of death. Like, you don't belong here. It's time for you. And it's, you know, talking about Valkyrie, she comes across more as a Valkyrie than anything, who wants to take him because he doesn't belong in this time period. You know, we're playing with a mechanic of time travel with that aspect alone that's never really been touched. You know, like, we're playing, it's supernatural time travel elements.
Yeah, it's not technological at all.
No, and it's not even going into like chrono magic and things of that nature.
I think the hardest part, at least for me, during the photo shoot, was we had to take the pictures, and I loved the area we did it in, but there's so much like graffiti and all this other stuff that I'm trying. Like, in the first few shots, we kind of played with it, you know, like, okay, cool, graffiti, kind of show the, you know, bad side of the stuff, you know, but we went a little bit further into where we were shooting, and we wanted to take some pictures of her, you know, below a tree branch.
Yeah.
And there was graffiti on the tree branch, like out of, you know, on this tree branch, it's just random white spray paint, you know.
These days you can't have a naturally beautiful landscape without some idiot messing it up.
Yeah, and, you know, I was really enjoying the scene, because otherwise it was really beautiful, you know, it's really, I loved the, you know, scenery, I loved just everything, the landscape and everything, but we went even further after that, near this waterfall, and there was, you know, you could tell people climbed purposefully just to do graffiti higher up, and there's trash someplace. Like,
you're risking your life to graffiti because these rock shapes are
they're
insane,
weird, and you could tell like you have to have some knowledge of climbing to get to this place, or
it's like a sheer face in some locations.
Yeah, either that or really stupid, thinking you're not gonna fall off this thing, you know. And, you know, then, not to mention, like I said, there were some sections where there were trash.
Yeah.
We got to the waterfall, and it buried really deep into the sand was a Pringles can.
Oh my god.
And I'm just like, okay, this would be a very beautiful place to shoot if it weren't for all this graffiti and trash buried, and it was sunk deep into the sand.
I don't understand people. I go running every once in a while, and I go from my house up to the bowl.
Yeah.
And while I'm at the bowl, I just pick up trash and just throw it away, just because nobody else is doing it. Like,
well, the bowl, they don't have the money to pay for maintenance and stuff like that. That's a shame, because I love that place. That's very beautiful, and the bowl is amazing, especially that view, because you can actually at night in the sun setting, you can see over the entire valley.
Yeah.
You know, it's a beautiful, beautiful place. But I will say there was one graffiti artist, I don't know if you're listening to this, in the Hemet area, who I salute you, sir, because they graffitied Majora's Mask.
That's okay, I can get down with that.
You know, like, I salute you, sir. Like, there's a little Majora's Mask, you know, emblem on this cliff. And the thing is, also the waterfall, like, we didn't know this until later, because we shot her in the waterfall. The water's freezing. I mean, those shot. Well, we knew the water was cold, and I got in there a little bit because I'm not comfortable asking someone to do something I'm not willing to do.
Is this the one on the way towards Idlewild?
No, this is Massacre Canyon.
Oh, okay, okay.
So we're in the Massacre Canyon area, and she was such a trooper. But the thing is about the waterfall shoots, because the water is almost the same color as the face, it doesn't really read.
Yeah.
You know. So, like, she's just such a trooper that she did it.
Sorry.
So some of the photos that we shot previously are probably a little bit better. And we got a great photo cover out of, which it led to a discussion about photo covers, because I'm a big fan of them. I like photo covers. I think especially if, like, Marvel and DC, they don't do photo covers, because it's kind of tradition. Like, I'm gonna bring in my sexy cover artist to do the thing. But you have cosplayers who are literally spending hundreds of thousands of dollars duplicating the costumes.
Yeah.
In some cases, surgically augmenting their bodies to meet the demands of those characters. Why not do a photo shoot with a cosplayer?
And some of those cosplayers just look amazing.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of those the cosplay community and stuff. And you know, every time I go to a convention, I I kind of am a cosplayer. Like I go a little out on Halloween and do some stuff. But the thing is, I'm normally when I'm at a convention, I don't get to do the cosplay thing because I'm there and I have to look professional.
Yeah, you're there, like what 80-90% business.
Yeah, I'm there eating. So I'm panhandling or trying to get people to look at different things or whatever, and just sell the books in some cases. So I don't get to have that element of fun, as it were. And it's kind of a bummer because that's one of the reasons why I really love conventions and stuff. We're going to be wandering around WonderCon. We have our 3-day pass for WonderCon, and you're going to be at Comic-Con.
I am. Oh crap! I'm actually going to probably be at WonderCon too. One of my friends had an extra pro pass, and she's going to get me in for one of those days. I don't know when, but probably Saturday.
Well, WonderCon 3-day pass is $50.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like
it's so cheap. I love it.
It's the same company that puts together Comic-Con too.
Yeah.
So I think at this point, with Comic-Con being what it is, I'm more apt to go to WonderCon.
Yeah, I know.
Just because working here.
Working.
But yeah, I'm much more apt to go to WonderCon because that's Brad and I have had this discussion multiple times already. It's still comic book, just more focused.
Yeah.
Comic-Con, I mean, don't get me wrong, I loved the one time we got into a Doctor Who panel on my birthday. I was so excited about that. The one time. But it's just ridiculous. I mean, a lot of people who go to Comic-Con now are usually going for the movie stuff.
It's more movie stuff and celebrity stuff these days.
Yeah. A buddy of mine, or our buddy, a friend of the company, they support us all the time, Atomic Moo. They did a podcast talking about their experience getting their Comic-Con tickets for this year. And they said what they need to do, and I agree with this, is just sell Hall H tickets.
That makes a lot of sense,
sell
actually.
Per panel tickets. And that way, if I want to see the Twilight panel or whatever, I can just go to Comic-Con, pay for my Hall H pass, go into that one panel, and then every panel you clear it out.
Yeah.
I will say, though, if you want to see a Twilight panel, I want a divorce right now.
Yeah, I know.
I kind of want a divorce too.
But that way, and if you buy a 3-day pass, let's say that gets you into 2 Hall H panels.
Yeah.
Of your choice.
You're lucky.
That way, we waited in line at 3 a.m. for 11 p.m. Or 11:30 panel for Doctor Who.
Yeah. And that's the thing, is when you go to see a Hall H panel, you're not going to go... If you've never been to Comic-Con, if you go to see a Hall H panel, it's not going to be, okay, I'm going to show up at 11 because the panel's at 11:30. No, you're going to show up at 2 p.m. the previous day just to wait in line outside to see Doctor... oh my god, it's nuts.
And by the time, 11 o'clock comes around, it's going to be round around the convention center 10 times.
Yeah.
Equaling to about 5 or 6 miles, just people waiting for that convention.
I have to admit, I was very proud of the Firefly line that you...
Oh my god, that was amazing. That was great.
I showed up there at 8 in the morning thinking, okay, this could happen. And at that point, the line, no joke, I'm not exaggerating, was 5 miles long. Probably a Comic-Con record. And then on top of it, because they showed it in the Hall 20...
Oh yeah, they replayed the whole panel.
They replayed the whole panel twice. Both times sold out. I tried 3 times to get into that panel. I never got into that panel.
When we got into the first line, when they were originally recording it, we had just gotten to the... We hadn't even got to the end of the line. They're like, if you're in line for Firefly, you're probably not going to get in from this point on.
And I'm sitting there because you're inside the building. I'm like, you know what? I've been at Comic-Con long enough. I know these lines. I'm probably going to get in. And then we get outside and I see the line stretch 5 miles. I'm like, we're not getting in.
No, that's...
We just looked at each other, shrugged, like, oh, that's disappointing, and then went and got food.
That's the one overnight panel line experience that I will probably never complain about. We got in line, I think at about 2 p.m. the previous night, and we were towards the front of the line. It was amazing. There was one point in the night where Joss Whedon walked by, drunk as a skunk because he had been at a bar with some friends, and he had this liquid courage, and he walked past our line, getting pictures with us, signing autographs. It was so amazing.
That's a man who respects his fans.
Oh, hell yeah.
I will say that. You look at some writers, some celebrities, they just don't give a damn.
No.
They take it for granted.
When they played the panel on the Science Channel that next year, it wasn't the whole panel, because there's parts of it that you don't see. There's parts of it where he's asked like what we as fans mean to him as a creator.
Broke down.
He broke down. Yeah, he started crying. Nathan Fillion started crying. Joss Whedon cried. Everybody was crying because they value us that much.
It's a great fandom. And
I will never regret anything I see that involves Joss Whedon and or Nathan Fillion.
Yeah.
Because I mean, especially Nathan Fillion, I think he's just, like you said, so appreciative of the fans he has. I mean, and the fact that he's willing not just to be pigeonholed in. I mean, he loves his sci-fi and he loves Firefly, but then he and Joss did a production of Much Ado About Nothing, which was so amazing.
It's probably my favorite production of it.
It's definitely my favorite,
Yeah.
And I love the fact that they just did it over the course of what was like a weekend or
2 or 3 weekends.
Yeah. Just in his house, Joss's house.
At his house. He's like, okay, let's have fun, kind of thing, And the fact that he's that kind of guy, just like, hey, I got an idea, let's do some Shakespeare in our house,
Yeah.
And just invites a lot of the people he works with on a regular basis.
I watched an interview. I guess that evolved out of like he would throw these parties with his friends, and they'd all do Shakespeare readings. They'd pull out the play and just read and goof around and drink wine. And his wife said, "You need to get this on tape. You need to get this on tape."
I think Nathan Fillion did such a great job as what was the character's name?
Was he Dogberry?
I don't remember the name of the character.
The
head of security.
With the Watchmen.
Yeah. I cannot, for the life of me, remember his name.
Let the record show that I am an ass.
Yeah. This man called me an ass.
Yeah.
That's just, I think about that now every
In
time.
the other film version that they did, the Michael Keaton played the same role.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but
yeah.
And Brad and I were talking. We think because we know, Nathan Fillion does really well with humor, but we think it'd be great if he could do a production of Othello as Iago. Yeah, we thought he would be so great in that role.
I know.
Make it happen.
I know, make it so, Joss Whedon. But we were talking about, like, we love him in all his comedic stuff, too. But we have no doubt that if he wanted to, he could play a really good Iago,
That would be fantastic. I would like to see that very much.
I think you could knock it out of the ballpark, yeah.
Especially with all the asides to the audience.
Oh, I know, yeah.
Just all the little moments by himself, like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
I watched Percy Jackson 2 just because Nathan Fillion was in it.
I didn't know he was in it. I might have seen it.
He actually has a Firefly reference too.
Yeah.
In the movie, because he's sitting there and he gives him this like
he plays the messenger god, right?
Yeah, he plays Hermes.
Hermes, yeah.
Yeah, he plays Hermes, and he gives him this like thermos for like
to hold.
It holds the wind of the gods or whatever.
Okay. Yeah.
But it's like Hercules busts heads. And the Percy Jackson goes, "What's Hercules bust head?" He goes, "Oh, it was a TV show. It was one of the greatest television shows ever."
And lasted one season.
Percy Jackson goes, "How come I've never heard about it?" And they cut right to him. He looks right in camera and he goes, "Because they canceled it in the first season."
Oh God!
And it pauses almost. All the best shows get canceled in the first season.
I will say, the second movie was complete, if for nothing else, just that reference.
Oh yeah, I went and saw it in theaters just for that scene.
That's awesome.
I've got my money's worth out of it just for
Yeah.
That little like looking deadpan in the camera.
Breaking that fourth wall.
All the best shows are canceled in the first season.
Oh,
It was so awesome. But yeah, I mean, this is the kind of stuff that went into the Last Templar. Is just we have a passion for this stuff, and it was a lot of fun. And I mean, the art. I'm lucky enough to I came up with the concept, but you really flushed it out. And, I'm hopeful that we'll get to do more. I mean, I don't want this to be a one-off. I'm if it goes that way, I'm content with it being a one-off. But there's so much more story we can tell with this character in this world, and we're gonna take it out at WonderCon, and who knows. We'll see what happens, and
might get picked up by somebody. Who knows?
It's possible.
Stranger things have happened.
Exactly. So you never know what's going to happen, and it's a good trade. It's a lot of fun went into it, and I have to say I've been killing myself on this Kickstarter because you just doing all the research on Kickstarter and all the I sit there on my day job. Which I like my day job, but I just don't want one. I want to do this full time.
Of course, yeah.
And I have my headset on, and I'm listening to podcasts about Kickstarter. I'm listening to interviews with how to have a successful Kickstarter campaign and all this kind of stuff. And one of the things that came up, because and I love Kickstarter. I've donated to a couple, and this is the first Kickstarter we've done for an actual graphic novel complete. Mm-hmm. Trade, and we have a lot of things in our favor for when the book's done.
Yeah.
Because some people, they're like, well, we want to do this, and then they donate, and then the book doesn't come out for another year or so. Like, when this, if they buy, boom, they get it as soon as the Kickstarter closes, like that next month.
Yeah, we're not running the risk of them forgetting or losing motivation or suddenly financial collapse,
Yeah, and I found a pretty clever way to do the PDFs. There's MediaFire. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to set up a MediaFire account just for the PDF, the guys that buy the PDF. And then they'll get a standard email, go to this website, log in with this password, this code.
I've used
download
MediaFire for different things. It's nice. I like it.
Yeah, you can download your PDF. That way I'm not worried about having to deal with like shrinking the PDF.
Yeah.
Or zip files or anything like that. There it is, full, you can read it. Mm-hmm. And I'll probably put it in an EPUB version too.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So if they want to download it to their Kindle or Nook or whatever, that'll be available, no extra charge. It's just going to be...
And it should work on the Nook just fine. I have like the very first version of the Nook because I wanted just an e-reader. Mm-hmm. And I've looked at PDFs on it before, and it's different, but you can do it.
Yeah, so I mean, they'll be, because we do EPUB versions for when we go to sell them the Nook and Kindle and stuff. So, like those versions will be available, which is nice, and it's one thing that I studying Kickstarter is there's a lot of international sales. They just don't want to deal with the shipping because if you're selling, because I have to charge them like $15 more in addition to. Just to cover the shipping.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, I'm going to give you $20, but I just want the PDF. A lot of people do that. I read this article made me so angry I wanted to punch someone in the face. Maylene and I talked about it. I don't remember the guy's name, but he did a webcomic where it was just stick figures. And he wanted to raise $8,000 for his webcomic. He raised $51,000 on Kickstarter.
A bit more than originally asked for.
A bit more than he originally asked for. What pissed me off is he never sent out the books. Like stuff like that kills Kickstarter.
And then because they wanted to do a lawsuit, like a group lawsuit against this guy, he filmed and put on YouTube him in his backyard setting fire to copies of the...
Just burning his book.
What
the heck? What, does he have a brain tumor?
I don't know. If somebody gave me $51,000 to do what I love, to do what I'm doing the comics with or without a payday.
Yeah.
I've been doing them we've been publishing indie for 2 years now, just about. And I've been working at this for 7 years. I was going to do this whether or not I get paid or not.
Yeah.
You know, getting paid is preferred to not getting paid. But there's a passion, there's a drive that I got so angry hearing about this just asshole, this asinine individual, because those are copies somebody paid for. That is, you said you were going to provide a service. They gave you money for that service. You did not provide that service.
Yeah.
And on top of not providing for the service, like, for me, if for some reason something happened where I could not physically get the books out, then something happened and I would feel ashamed of it. And I would be either trying to make it up somehow or trying to find some way of refunding it. I mean, I don't want to refund the money, but I will find some way to make it right. He did not care one bit. He was just like, oh, well, screw you. I'm going to blaze all the stuff that you guys paid for.
One of speaking of refunds, this is kind of really cool. They just talked about it yesterday or today. Veronica Mars, which is probably one of the biggest Kickstarter campaigns the last couple of years. So much so that Warner Brothers is like, oh, there's a movie here, I guess if you donated to the Kickstarter a certain amount of level, you got a digital copy of the movie. Because I don't know if the movie's out in theaters or coming out in theaters.
I think it just came out.
It just came out. I guess some people were having problems with the digital downloads. And they said, okay, if you are having problems with the digital download, Warner Brothers said, we're going to refund you your Kickstarter funds.
Oh, wow.
Warner Brothers is just saying we're gonna cover you as a customer, which is kind of cool because that's not on their end.
Yeah.
The Kickstarter was from the filmmaker and the director and all that. So for them to say, not only as the distributor's coming and saying we're going to take care of you as a fan.
That's awesome. I like that.
That is really cool and respectable because Warner Brothers doesn't have to do that. Warner Brothers has no obligation to do that. Legally speaking.
It's just nice that they're willing to do, not only, give them the property, but go above and beyond what they have to do,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But like that, Kickstarter has changed the way business is being done.
Oh, yeah.
And it gives little guys like us an opportunity to do a real serious print run to get something to happen. Because a lot of people don't realize, like, we're doing print on demand, which means we're making like no money per book sold. The only real way to make money is to do a huge print run, which is going to cost $6,000-7,000, and then you got to deal with stock and all that stuff. We're so little that print on demand works for us, and we get a lot out of print on demand. And it's a good system, and it's how we're able to secure books and stuff for individuals. I mean, they're going to give us their address or whatever, and we're going to order it from our printers and mail it straight from the printers to their house. Well, at least with the books, the extras, the pages, the prints, all that we're still having to mail out. What a lot of people don't realize is you should, like, 40% of your profit is probably, if not more, going to be shipping.
It's a huge cost.
Yeah. Because of this is just how the world works, and we're especially with graphic novels because they weigh a ton.
Yeah.
You're getting the colored version, which is amazing, looks great. With all that extra content, it adds to the weight of the book. I don't want to go into how much shipping costs on these things, but it's significant.
Quite a bit of money.
Quite a bit of money, and we worked in that cost into the price of the actual like, the way it works is like, okay, the trade, we're charging $15 for the trade. We have the price of shipping worked into that, and the price of a couple other things with maybe, we're probably going to get $4 profit on that $15 trade. But we've worked it out so that we're not losing money. Yeah. That's the kicker. A lot of Kickstarters hurt themselves because they don't take into shipping, at least domestically. If we're dealing with the overseas shipping, unfortunately, luckily Kickstarter has a thing to where they say, look, if you want to do it overseas, fine, but we're going to have to charge you an extra X amount, so I'm not hurting myself, which, unfortunately, that's just the way it worked. But at least we've worked it out enough to where we're not hurting ourselves with this Kickstarter. And I'm excited. I think it's a smaller campaign. We're not asking for that much.
I forget how much are we asking for?
We're asking for 500.
Yeah, it's really not a whole lot.
We're not asking for a whole lot.
I've heard of people. I mean, not saying it's going to happen for us, but I've actually heard during Kickstarter some people actually donating just 500. For not saying that's going to happen for us, but I'm saying it's an easier goal.
It has happened. It has happened where someone comes along and just donates just a ridiculous amount of money because they happen to like something.
Yeah, whatever
like
the product is.
Yeah. I forget who did it, but somebody actually managed to raise $100,000 on Kickstarter one time. Again, they come across this in Kickstarter research.
Was it for Firefly Season 2?
No, that'd be like close to $1 million.
Yeah. Oh, jeez. It could happen. It really could.
I'm waiting for that one to appear one day on the horizon.
Come on, Joss, get it together.
Well, I think the thing is, Joss, he knows the kind of power of the fans. He just doesn't. He doesn't want to exploit that.
Yeah,
which is cool.
And he could exploit me all day.
It's like I'll stand in a line, from 3 a.m. on to get a...
Seriously, 3 a.m. and the fucking train went by right on those train tracks, and it like ding 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 all night.
I've been out there. I know exactly what you're talking about.
You know what though? It was worth it. It was worth it.
Great, I'm going to have that in my head. Ding, 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 ding. Shut up!
It was like a solid hour of that.
No. So it's we're going to probably cut this one just a wee bit short because we might package this podcast as a CD bonus for the Kickstarter contributors.
That'd be awesome.
So real quick, any final words to any Kickstarter contributor?
Thank you. Thank you so very much. Without you, we would not be doing this. I wouldn't be able to pursue my passion in this circumstance without you. Not even just your money. I mean, just your support means the world to us. And I don't feel like we're ever going to get so big that we forget that.
No.
I mean, we're all fans. We're content creators, but first and foremost, we like comics, just like you do. We work in this medium because we can, and it's what we love to do, and we can't do it without you. So, thank you.
Yeah, and I like I said, huge fans of this industry. There's not a day that goes by that I don't think about comics in some fashion or another, whether it's the history or just it's impacted my life in such a positive, meaningful way that it's what I want to do. It's what I have been doing for the last 7 years. I've devoted a good hunk of my life to this medium, and for anyone who gives us $1 to the 150 package, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for supporting us. Thank you for just giving me the opportunity to practice my craft, because even if you donate $1, that means you've decided that $1 of your money, your hard-earned money, is worth investing in my dream in my life. So thank you.
Yeah, I'm pretty much going to go, along with you guys, and not only just saying thank you for supporting, but I mean, this is more than about just, selling a comic. It's more, it's more about selling The Last Templar to everybody, which, don't get me wrong, I love The Last Templar. I've talked to Brandon about it, he's more involved with it than I am, as is Lewis, but it's more also, not just with Last Templar, but with everything we've been doing. It's helped give me, a sense of belonging, if that doesn't sound too cheesy. But, it's true, it helps me kind of feel like I'm involved in something more than just myself. I'm involved in more than just my worries and everyday things. I was able to be the photographer, with the model Mel, and just even doing that much for it gave me a sense of I'm doing something that is actually adding to not just the project, but to, enjoyment for anyone who picks up a copy of The Last Templar, And it's, would make me feel really great if, people get to see these, not only some of the photos, but get a variant cover of it because it's like, oh, this is another photo I did that was really came out well, and yeah, I'm not the model in it, but I took that photo, kind of thing. So it's really important to me as a photographer to get some of it out there,
I've shared some of those prints with some people online that just go, wow.
Yeah.
They just those shots and those compositions are amazing.
Although that's probably a little bit more Mel than my shot,
I don't know about that. I mean, without you, we don't have the shot. Period.
Yeah.
So definitely, a team because you can't have just a model, you can't have just a photographer.
Yeah, I will tell us one story. At one point, we were running low on batteries and we forgot batteries. We brought batteries, but we left them at the car. So I ran back to the car, and the period where I was away from the shoot, and it was just Mel and my wife. They managed to get some of the best shoots, period. And
those were the ones. He's referring to the ones where. Anytime you see her like lying along the rock, when she's not only against the rock, but she's like lying kind of half upside down.
Mm-hmm.
Those were definitely some of the more fun shots. Because I think that way she and I could just talk and have fun and be kind of silly, like okay, try this. Even though you normally never would do that as a woman, just. Try this.
And that's the one thing that's weird about pinup. The more awkward the pose, the more beautiful it looks. Because the model's not comfortable in it.
Is your spine on fire? Good.
I know. Can you feel your heel on the back of your head? Okay, that is a sexy pose. Do you feel like you just swallowed your spleen?
That's a trick. That really is. I fell off a ladder once, and I know that trick. So, all right, in closing, we just want to say thank you and pass the word about the Kickstarter starting the 24th of 24th of this month, running all the way into the near the end of April. So please support us, please spread the word, and thank you. Yeah, this 24th.
The following podcast was a production by Destiny Comics, sponsored by DestinyComics.wix.com/comics. Recorded live in Hemet, California. Produced by executive producer Michael Sanders. A special thanks to any and all guests who participated in the previous podcast. This concludes our broadcasting hour. Thank you.
Hey, people of the interwebs, it's me, Brandon Noel, and I'm sitting here with Lewis.
Hello.
That's right, we are the creative team behind The Last Templar.
We're the ones who wrote it, we're the ones who drew it, it is ours.
That's right, we're the ones who painted it.
Yeah.
That's right, this book, if you get the colored variant, it is hand-painted. Not many comic books do that ever, period. So, if you're a fan of time-traveling madness, barbaric violence, and some good old-fashioned sex, The Last Templar is a great trade for you.
Even if you're just a history buff like me, this is going to be topics that are fascinating to you. If you've read Spider-Man 2099, it's in the same vein. It's wonderful. You want it. I know you do.